California, the first leg of the 1983 Supercross season. Team Honda unveils its brand new CR250, as well as one of the hottest lineups of riding talent ever assembled in professional motorcycling. Number 12, Bob Hurricane Hanna, the winningest rider in motocross history with 55 career victories. Number 11, David Bailey, the son of Gary the Professor Bailey, the man commonly referred to as the father of American motocross. David, nicknamed naturally enough the Little Professor, would prove to all concerned that 1983 was the year for him to step out from his father's shadow and take his rightful place among the very best riders in the world. The Honda roster goes on to include number 22, Danny Magoo Chandler, number 25, Phil Larson, number 14, Goat Brecker, and number 4, Johnny Osho O'Mara, each one young, talented, and determined. Honda talent and Honda horsepower were on display from turn 1 of the 83 season. Chandler, Larson, and Bailey coming off the starting line to take the hole shot 1, 2, and 3.
Danny Magoo Chandler out in front. Phil Larson right behind him and battling for third, David the Little Professor Bailey. But it is Chandler out in front, Larson in second spot as we get underway here at Anaheim.
Early in the race, Yamaha's Brock Glover, number 6, grabbed the lead when Chandler suddenly lost his bike in a deep rut on the track. The Little Professor, however, was right on his heels.
It's the golden boy out of San Diego, Brock Glover out in front. He's never won Anaheim before, and he's trying tonight. But here comes Bailey strong on the outside. Bailey stalking Glover, running right behind him in second spot. So Glover out in front of the Yamaha. Bailey right behind him on the Honda. And here comes Danny Magoo Chandler trying to fight his way back up. It is Glover in front, but Bailey is breathing down his tailpipe.
Glover's hold on first place would be short-lived, though. Midway through the race, he was tossed off his bike while negotiating the aptly named whoop-de-doos.
David Bailey out in front over the whoops, and Glover is trying to hold on the bike, but look at Bailey go. David Bailey, number 11, and 70,000 fans are standing and cheering. Look at this guy go. Look at the lead. David Bailey, Team Honda in front.
Bailey charged on by and rode flawlessly for the remainder of the event, ultimately winning his first major tournament. Glover could not even be consoled with second place. Within yards of the finishing line, Johnny O'Mara literally blew past him to capture second. Another championship season for Honda horsepower was underway.
Tonight's my night.
From Anaheim, the Supercross circus moved to Seattle, Washington, where Team Honda once again flexed its muscle. The first semifinal was won by number 4, Johnny Osho O'Mara. The second semi was taken by Danny Magoo Chandler, number 22. The third qualifier was won by number 42, Honda's Brian Myerscough. And the final race of the day, the main event, belonged to the Hurricane, Bob Hanna.
The riders line up for the main event. There's Hanna moving up on the line. The gate drops, and they rocket down that front straightaway here in the Seattle Kingdom. Out in front, it is Hanna on the blood-red Honda. Hanna gets a beautiful hole shot out in front. He's followed by David Bailey. We got a singler back on line 5. A bunch of riders jammed together. But out in front and opening up an incredible lead, Bob Hurricane Hanna. Look at this guy go. Hanna in front, followed by Bailey through the tunnel. Bob Hurricane Hanna, the wonder boy, the Team Honda lineup has got the whole shot here in Seattle and is out in front, setting an incredible pace. Whoa! Look at Hanna. Suddenly, it's 19
From Seattle, the victory teams headed east to Atlanta for what started out as Supercross, but ended up as Super Mud. The day began innocently enough with the first heats taking place under a light drizzle. David Bailey, number 11, once again proved he is a true contender by fighting off Kawasaki's Jeff Ward, number 9, throughout the entire heat. The little professor was giving a few lessons of his own in his determined march towards the national championship. Honda Horsepower continued to make them the team to beat in qualifier number 2. From turn 1, it looked as though number 12, Bob Hanna, was on his way to yet another victory when his teammate, young Kenny Keelan, number 19, slipped past a stalled Hurricane. It appeared as if the 18-year-old Keelan was on his way to his first victory and a major upset over Hanna, but the great number 12 was not to be denied. With just moments to go in the race, Keelan collided with a back marker, and the Hurricane, who had been whistling down his neck throughout the entire heat, sailed in for an easy victory. It was a tough break for Kenny, but he still managed to climb back on his bike and finish with a very respectable third place. By the time the first semifinal event began, the rain was coming down hard, and the track was quickly turning into motorcycle soup. But despite the absolutely awful racing conditions, Honda came out of the gate to win. Bailey took the early lead with teammate Hanna riding hard in third place. Sandwiched between them was Kawasaki's Jeff Ward in second place. Hanna moved in quickly for the kill on Ward, barreling by him on the whoop-de-doos. From there on, it was Bailey and Hanna battling the rain and mud in the 1-2 spot. In the final laps, Bailey momentarily lost his line coming over a jump. The bike slipped out from under him in the mud, and so did his first place finish. Hanna took over the lead and notched up another victory. Bailey still managed to hold on to second place, bringing Team Honda another 1-2 finish. The main event at the Atlanta Mud Bath was memorable only for its comic relief. Hanna somehow managed to swim in for a second place finish behind Mark Barnett. The rest of the field just managed to swim. The next race on the Supercross circuit took place in Daytona, Florida, where it all began. The Florida sun gave the riders a chance to dry off from the Atlanta rain, and Daytona's tough mile-long track gave Bob Hanna a chance to show why he's one of the best riders the sport of Supercross has ever seen.
Here's a start. Flying down that straightaway on the longest track in Supercross racing.
In the first heat, Hanna takes the hole shot, and the rest is history.
Look at this guy go. Bob Hanna in front. No contest under the hot Florida sun. It's Hanna's race.
Well, I have a good bike now and been riding a lot. I think Daytona is a good track for Honda too. You know, that sand drags the horsepower out of them, and if you got about 5 horsepower more than everybody else, that's enough to do it.
The second heat showed once again why the little professor David Bailey is one of the hottest riders in the country. In turn 1, he got caught in a horrendous pileup, leaving him dead last in the field. In the truest test of a champion, Bailey climbs back on his bike and one by one passes every rider on the track to win the heat. The first semifinal of the day once again belonged to Hurricane Hanna. Taking the hole shot on turn 1, Hanna had the rest of the pack playing follow the leader for the remaining 10 laps. The second semi showed the depth of Team Honda's stable of riders, the checkered flag being taken by number 14, Goat Brecker. The main event at Daytona could have been called the Bob Hanna Show. From turn 1, Hanna smoked the entire field for 20 laps. The Honda freight train roared in behind him, taking first, second, and third. Honda horsepower was revved up and on the move.
Hurricane winds blow across Daytona.
It's called Honda horsepower, that's all.
Beatable, first in Houston and then in Pontiac, Michigan. The drama in Pontiac was especially intense. Hanna entered the event while suffering from a debilitating virus.
No, tell them just the way it is. They're gonna, they'll smile tonight, and I'm gonna give them a butt whipping the rest of the year. So that's all.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Bailey had to make do with a badly injured ankle. Nevertheless, the two young men put on a show of riding skill that few in Pontiac will ever forget.
To the left-hand turn. And it's David Bailey again out in front. It's Bailey followed by Hannah as they go over the rockers. David Bailey is loved in Pontiac, Michigan. The flash bulbs are going off. Machine is down and out. Bailey in front. Hannah right in his tailpipe. And the momentum of their battle carrying him way away from the rest of the pack. Bailey in his element. And Hannah right in his rear tire. Bailey goes to the outside, over the jump. Hannah to the inside. And it's still Bailey in front. Hannah on the inside. Hannah gets a wheel in front. It's Hannah in front with Bailey right behind all of the track. Look at the lead they've got over the rest of the pack. Unbelievable. Hannah out in front. David Bailey of Action Virginia in second. Hannah running strong in first place. There's the checkered flag. And Bob Hurricane Hannah takes it.
Two weeks after the Pontiac races, Bailey scored another Honda victory in Washington, D.C. This after breaking his foot in the 8th lap of the main event. Despite the broken foot, Bailey managed to stay out in front of the Hurricane that was right behind him. Number 12, Bob Hannah. Although Team Honda is generally regarded as having one of the toughest and most comprehensive training programs for its riders, injuries continue to plague their 1983 Supercross efforts. During a practice run just prior to the Orlando races, Bob Hannah broke both wrists. For the Hurricane, the season was over. The burden of capturing the national championship now rested squarely on the young shoulders of the little professor, David Bailey. Bailey responded to the pressure by taking second in Pittsburgh and then, 2 weeks later in Foxborough, Massachusetts, finishing first. The final race of the Supercross season took place at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California. The task confronting Bailey was a formidable one. The national championship is determined by a point system, a sliding scale of points awarded to an individual rider depending on how he places in a particular race. The points are also dependent upon whether the race is a heat, semifinal, or a main event. Arriving in Pasadena, Bailey had a 10-point lead in the championship. Only one thing stood in his way: Suzuki's Mark Barnett. The stage was set for a showdown. Bailey left the starting line in the first heat knowing exactly what he had to do to win the championship.
Heat one, David Bailey out in front on a blistering hot night here in Pasadena. The temperature hovering at 95 degrees. It ain't no hotter than Bailey's riding. Look at him go. Glover running in second. Bailey putting it on the line, going for the Champagne Glory and Gold tonight. He will not coast. He's going to go for it. And Bailey wins
the main event.
One.
If Mark Barnett won, Bailey needed only to finish in the top 5 to win the title. The entire season was on the line, and no one knew that better than David's father, Gary.
It's definitely rougher standing on the sidelines. I remember when I was racing, and I never had the pressure that he has tonight. But it's a lot harder standing there than it is out there riding, believe me. Because when you're riding, you got other things on your mind and not thinking about that.
Bailey hold of his life.
The little professor ran a smart race, maintaining a steady pace throughout the 20-lap event. Barnett finished second, Bailey sixth. The dream of every Supercross rider had become, for him, a reality. David Bailey is the 1983 AMA Wrangler Supercross champion. The 1983 Supercross season is now in the record books, but the formula for success in '83 and the years to come will remain. Talent, aggressiveness, determination, and in the words of Bob Hurricane Hanna,
It's called Honda horsepower, that's all.